What is up, guys? Welcome into a brand new video. Now today we are going to be talking through the kind of general cricket gaming news, like we do every Monday. Before we get into it though, guys, if you could leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, it does massively help out the channel. We'll get straight into it and see what's happened this week. Okay, so kicking off as we usually do, Cricket 24, we actually got a patch this week. Yay, we haven't had one of those for a while. So they added the Pakistan men's team. There was an issue with some of the players coming out not actually looking what they're supposed to look like, but that problem has now been fixed. Everything looks fine. Babar Azam doesn't look like his face is about to fall off, so we're absolutely fine on that. They've also added the Pakistan stadium, so we've got Multan, Karachi and Lahore. They've updated any squads that needed to be updated. Improved sharing server efficiency. I presume that's downloading stuff on the community and things like that. And we've also had stability improvements. Now, the issue that I had is I was really hoping for a little bit more content in this update. It's okay, great. You've added the Pakistan teams, and that had to be added. But are we going to see Pro Team? Are we going to see anything to do online? Are we going to see these new kind of cutscenes and things like that we were promised in career mode? There's meant to be special Ashes cutscenes and things like that we were originally promised at the start, and then the game was delayed. And then we didn't see anything new, and like it's not a lot. It's still the same game that released, with the exception of a few patches and a couple of nice things, and that they are relatively listening to the community with issues and glitches and things like that, but there's still no new content, and that's what the game's lacking for me at the moment. I just want to see a little bit more if we could. I don't know if we're going to anytime soon. I don't know if that's going to be like a 6-month update. I mean, we're now 3.5 months into the game being out. And we haven't actually seen any actual kind of gameplay content being added. It's just kind of teams, it's different play faces and things like that, different kits, and then obviously the bugs fixes. That's kind of all we've seen. The game is in a good place right now. I really hope that Big Ant start focusing on putting in some extra content, extra game modes, more reasons to play online, different things like that. That would be nice to see. But that is pretty much all of our cricket gaming news this week. On to our first kind of cricket story. We have England versus India this week. I am so excited for this series. I really am. I cannot wait for this series to start. I've already told the wife I'm sleeping on the sofa. I'm getting up at 4 a.m. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be ready for the... I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. so I'm ready for the toss. I get to see the toss happen. I'm very excited. I cannot wait. It's been 6 months now without English Test cricket, and do you know what? I've really missed it. If I had to do a score prediction at this point, I don't know. Every part of my being says India is far too hard to win away. You can't do it. They'll just produce absolute shit tips. I really don't want to moan about the pitches because they are what they are. They're going to produce what they want to produce and what's going to help them win. I think the more that it turns, the more of a lottery it becomes, and the more England have a chance. I think if they produce not flat ones, but kind of it's a batting until about day 4, and then spin really comes into it. I think that's how India would win. If they produce pitches, you're going to see what happened in the third test between between Australia and India, where Australia managed to nick one because they just produced a lottery pitch. So for that reason, I'm going to go England to win 3-2. I could very well be horrendously wrong and we'll lose 5-0. That wouldn't surprise me. I think the only scoreline that would surprise me would be England 5-0. That's the only scoreline that would surprise me. Everything else I think is on the table. I wouldn't expect too many draws, if one at all. The only reason that there might be a draw is that if India kind of want like 2-1 up, maybe going into the last test like they did against Australia, and they just produce an absolute road. I think you could see a draw then. Again, like serious roads, it's not going to be like Rawalpindi and Pakistan where you can kind of smash it about. That bowling attack was horrendously poor, the one that we smashed around in Rawalpindi. So we might struggle a little bit more if they do produce a flat deck. But my prediction is going to be England 3-2. Now, more news that has come out about the England test side. Harry Brooke is set to miss the entire India series due to personal reasons. It's really sad to see him go home. You don't know what it is. I just want to kind of send as much as my thoughts as I can to Harry Brooke and his family at this time. Like, it's going to be a massive miss for England. I mean, what is he averaging? 60, 65 or something ridiculous in test match cricket after like 20 innings now. Absolutely unbelievable play. He really is. And I think we are going to really miss him. The only thing that it changes is that it makes folks a lot easier to get into the side. We can now go with Duckett, Crawley, Pope, Root, Bairstow, Stokes, Folkes. I'd go Rian Ahmed, Mark Wood, Jack Leach, Jimmy Anderson, 11. That would probably be my first 11. The only thing that worries me is obviously I think you want kind of two senior bowlers. So maybe you go Atkinson instead of Wood with Anderson and then Robinson with Wood. I'm not 100% sure which way you want to go. But I'd probably go with our strongest team. And our strongest team for India, I think, is Ahmed, Leach, Anderson, Wood for the first test. Let's try and win the first one. Let's try and get on the front foot. And that's the way we've got to do it. But very, very sad to see Harry Brooke go home. Hopefully, everything kind of sorts itself out and he'll be back for the English summer and score an absolute bucket of runs, because this summer coming up is it really is a fill your boot summer. Pad those stats, get that average back up over 100 would be nice. Now, in other test matches that happened this week, Australia played the first test against the West Indies and Australia battered them. I mean, it's probably the West Indies D team against a full-strength Australia squad. It looked a bit hairy. I mean, the pitch was okay. I mean, it wasn't anything bad. It wasn't the kind of one that was in South Africa for the South Africa-India test match not that long ago. So it wasn't terrible, but Travis Head scored an absolutely fantastic century to kind of not save Australia. They probably would have been fine, but to make it relatively comfortable. Smith as an opener and Cameron Green as a number 4 struggled, as I said that they would last week. Okay, Smith was not out, but they were chasing about 28, I think, in the second inning. So you'd expect him to be not out at the end. I still don't buy Cameron Green, especially Cameron Green at number 4. And I don't buy Steve Smith as an opener. I think we are now at the point where Kane Williamson is probably going to have the highest average out of the Fab 4 or whatever you want to call them. It is what it is. If Australia probably still going to win a lot of games, and especially a lot of games at home with Smith opening. I think this is Smith wanting to make life a little bit more exciting. And not just retiring. Personally, there's always whispers about Steve Smith retiring. But well played, Australia. Another win. They'll probably win the series 3-0. I think the second test starts on Thursday, I believe, and then there'll be another one after that. But yeah, I mean, Australia should walk the rest of them. But it's always nice to see the West Indies play. Now, the T20 started this week, and that puts us up to 4 franchise tournaments that are currently running at the same time. So we have the BBL, the T20, the SA20, and the Bangladeshi Premier League started this week, I think. I'm not sure if it was this week or last week. I don't really pay attention. This is the time of year where franchise cricket just becomes unbearable. Like, I can watch probably 1, maybe 2 T20 games a day. There is no chance. I'm pretty sure Sunday morning, or no, it was Saturday. I'm pretty sure you could watch like 7 T20 games. Like, it's just too much. Like, I don't need this ILT20. It's always just that little bit step too far. You see people playing it, and you're like, okay, it's not a bad standard. It's not quite as good as the SA20. It's not far away from the Big Bash. The problem with the Big Bash is that they just don't have the money to bring in the big players. The thing that kind of saves them is that the domestic players in Australia are pretty good. But in terms of their overseas players, and also most of them piss off halfway through the year to go play the SA20 or the ILT20 anyway. So they never actually have them for the whole year. I mean, when Sam Billings and people like that, your overseas player, you're not pulling the likes of Josh Butler and the kind of big South Africans and, I don't know, Trent Bolt and things like that. You're just not, there's too much competition in this window right now to try and get the big players for a small amount of money. So yeah, I mean, if anyone is listening that comes from the ILT20, just sack it off. I know Dubai's probably got unlimited money, but just do we need it really? It's a little bit of a step too far. There's too many franchise competitions going on at the moment, and I can't possibly watch them all, or can say that I'd be interested in watching 90% of the games. Very quickly to finish off, Pakistan and New Zealand wrapped up their T20 series. New Zealand ended up winning it 4-1. I didn't watch a lot of it. Most of it was on while I was either asleep or just waking up. So I didn't really see the point of watching it. But, of course, there is a T20 World Cup coming up. So I guess it's relatively important. But New Zealand are kind of just that team that will probably do pretty well. They'll probably make a semi at least, because when it comes to ICC tournaments, they're just really good. They're like the opposite of India. They'll look terrible for ages, and I'll make a video and be like, there is absolutely no way that New Zealand could possibly make the semi-final, like I did for the last, 4 competitions. And they just end up there, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, they're in another final or a semi-final, and they probably won't win it, but they'll be there or thereabouts. So, yeah, this series happened. There was a couple of centuries. I think, did Will Young score a ton? I don't even think I've looked at a scorecard for this series, but New Zealand won 4-1 because I looked it up on Cricket Info before. Guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I very much hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to leave a like. Please remember to subscribe. Let us know what you think is going to happen in the India and England series. That's the one I'm most excited for. I can't really see anything different happening or anything of interest happening in any of the other cricket that is happening at the moment. I think everything's going to be leading up to India versus England. Obviously, the next time a video will come out, I think we'll know the result. It might be day 5 next Monday, so we might not know the result, but we'll probably get a raging turner and it'll be over in 2 days. So I will be able to talk about it. I'll talk about it anyway. I'll be doing daily updates of the cricket on TikTok and maybe Instagram, not 100% sure. So if you do want to follow me over there, the link is in my bio, along to all my social medias. Go drop us a follow on Twitter, Instagram. Join the Discord, all the usual stuff. I don't usually promote that, but I just thought I would, because I will be doing daily updates on TikTok. But guys, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.